You are entering the Poirsha Fit experience of holistic wellness. Your mental and physical health are now your number one priority. Guided by the wisdom of our ancestors, of mindfulness practices, and using food as our medicine. Healing ourselves naturally is our daily mantra. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Poirsha Fit podcast, and I am your host, Poirsha. Who am I? You ever ask yourself that question when you say, I am, and say your name? What does that mean? In my meditation teacher training, we did an exercise where you write, I am in the center, and then you start to write names of things that you feel that you are, ways to describe yourself. And I filled up an entire page. And when I read all of those words, I think about how I always think of myself. I've always seen myself as being strong. If anything, that's the number one thing. I am strong. Poirsha is synonymous with strength. What is the one thing for you that's synonymous with you? I think it's important to know that about yourself, something that's never changing, something that is and always will be. And in my case, me seeing myself as strong means that if ever I'm not strong, I will reject that state of being and I will work my hardest to course correct so that I can be strong. Because there was a time in my life where I was not strong. I had a horrible injury at work, and this iron gate collapsed on me. I will get into that story on another podcast episode, but it was a defining moment, and that's what changed my life. And it put me back on this path and prioritizing my health physically and mentally. And because of the practices that I found that actually healed me from that horrible injury that I suffered with for many years, I decided to learn how to teach it so that I can teach it to my family members, so that they have a solution when the medical system fails them, as they did with me. So you don't have to feel helpless because you left your health and the quality of your life in someone else's hands. I'm saying take that back. That you have the power to do it. It's already in you. You just have to tap into it. So how do we tap into our own healing energy? Well, that's the work that I do. It's what I teach. I teach yoga, Pilates, meditation, and Ayurveda. Some of you have never heard of Ayurveda. Others of you know a little bit about it. And other groups, you know a lot about it. For those of you who are not familiar with Ayurveda, it is the holistic healing science. Its little translation is the science of life. And it is a practice that is practiced in India. I'll get more into the details of the practices a little bit later. I'll go through all of my certifications. But right now, I've been teaching for many years. Since 2016, I was first certified as a teacher, and I've been an athlete my whole life, an elite athlete at that. I did play Division I, so I feel I've mastered the art of movement. Movement requires a balance of flexibility and strength. or stability and ease. In yoga, that's called Sukha Stiram. People have commented for years about how easy I make poses or exercises look. And that is because it's something I have practiced. I've spent my whole life moving and challenging my body in different athletic settings. I used to dance, be in gymnastics. I was a sprinter. Then for majority of my life, I played soccer. I played sweeper for many years. And once I got to high school and varsity, they transitioned me to forward. So I played club forward, and then college I played forward. I was a dominant athlete my entire life. It's all I knew. So it seems that it's natural for me to be a teacher, to teach people how to move in a yoga practice and how to move in a Pilates practice, because these practices require you to be strong and to be flexible and athletic and agile, to have balance. Believe it or not, people don't have good balance. They don't know how to shift their energies around on their feet. Where does the weight go? And also the practices of the mind. One of my biggest strengths is the mind. I've been training my mind my whole life to be resilient and dependable, especially in clutch moments. I'm speaking to all the athletes right now. We all can agree that the mind is the most important thing when it comes to performance. You can physically be at your peak, you're well conditioned, no injuries, you may even had a great practice all week. But if your mind is not locked in for the game, you're useless. You make silly mistakes. You ruin the energy flow for your teammates. For me, I'm missing wide open shots on goal. I'm losing possession of the ball right in the box. I'm mistiming my runs. And this is all not a physical problem. I'm not lacking conditioning. I'm healthy. So what's the problem? It's the mind. You lost faith in winning. You lost confidence in yourself. And you just don't feel like you're that it person anymore. And the yelling coaches, they really try and help you to snap back in, but yelling isn't always a solution. My personal growth since 2016, my evolution has been how to transition out of this really hard, tough, overly competitive, mega fiery energy and move into something that's softer, more gentle, more loving. A practice that is more nurturing. That's been my work. My desire for this change of pace in my life has led me to teaching. And what I love most about being a teacher of all these things is you really have to walk the walk before you can talk the talk. And many people over the years have wanted me to teach on a bigger stage so long ago, but I just wasn't ready. I have that old school way, that traditional way of learning how I think. I feel I need to be an apprentice. I need to be a student for a long time before it's my turn to teach principles and philosophies and all of those things. So it's taken me many years before I felt ready, like I am right now at this moment, to take my teachings to a larger audience, to place myself on a bigger stage. And I feel comfortable now finally doing it because I've integrated these practices into my life. Every single day, I've done some kind of mindfulness activity or some physical activity, focusing on eating healthier. How can I have more positive thoughts? How can I get myself out of this dark hole? How do I get back on top again? I'm always striving to be better. In order to be in this position to teach so many people, you have to be able to relate to them. And the person that I was for majority of my life, that competitive elite athlete, she didn't relate. According to her, everyone was soft. They were talking about feelings and emotions. I didn't have a concept of that. I shut it out. I froze that part of myself. Emotions don't get you wins. How you feel about a situation is not going to get you to score more goals. It's not going to change the score of the game. What does change the score of the game is you getting your head in the game and actually producing. Produce some goals. Execute. Doesn't matter how you feel. Oh, you're tired. So what? It doesn't matter. Remember The Rock? It doesn't matter what your name is. We used to watch WWE back in the day. With China, I'm aging myself right now. For sure. What was that guy with the towel? Ooh, I forgot his name. Hello, ladies. I forgot his name. Oh, somebody's going to have to remind me. Was it some Val Venus? Yes. And The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was fun. I used to watch wrestling too. I actually was thrown into a wrestling match with this girl. I had no practice ever in my life. I don't know why I was forced to do it, but I was. And guess what? I won. So you see why I needed these practices, you guys? Because you just can't be that good at everything. Or at least that just wasn't my mission on this earth at this time. My mission was to challenge myself. And I ran away from emotions and being emotionally vulnerable. And wow, did that whack me in the head for the last 8 years. It's very challenging. I'm still working on vulnerability. So it's a work in progress. But life finds a way to expose your weaknesses and to force you to face them. Sports is what I loved. Soccer was the love of my life. That's all I did. Imagine your whole life in school, at recess, lunch, after school. All I did was play sports. I was the girl who was first picked on teams. I always played with the guys. Kickball, tetherball, handball. I just remember playing all of these things. Flag football. I think I was in middle school. I was the only girl on the flag football team. And I remember one game, all of my dads came. My dad, my stepdad, and my goddad all showed up to watch me play. How fun. Probably torture for them, but I still remember that. So you can imagine, once I stopped playing the sport, what did I do next? I jumped myself into careers that were performance-based, that were sales-driven. People ask me now, how are you so good in your sales? How do you get so many clients? Well, I mean, one of those things is, look at me. Come on. This body sells itself. You want to be strong? You want to be strong like me? You want to be flexible like me? You want to have this attractive energy and aura about you? Then you got to do what I do. You got to do the mindfulness practice. You have to do the work that's in the dark. You do your shadow work. You do the work, and then people will see you. And I mean, they will see you, the real you, the being that you really are, not the facade. That was serious, but we'll definitely get more into that way later deep in these episodes. I'm going to catch you up on a few fun events right now, and then we'll get into your own mindful practice. Currently, we are in a 90-day challenge. As of October 3rd, it is 90 days until the end of the year. And I wanted to do something that was going to challenge me, something that I have been less disciplined in, and that has been in my showing up for my fitness practice. I work out while I teach group fitness classes, but I don't work out outside of that. So I wanted to change that. So I decided to really push myself. And I've committed to doing kettlebell and jump rope every single day for 90 days until the end of the year. It's scary, but it's exciting. And I've already have some days under my belt, so woohoo to me. And I've got some other people who are in to do what they want to do to move the needle in their life forward. So that's exciting. Maybe you'll jump in at the 60th day, or maybe you want to do something for 30 days. Who knows? But that's what I'm doing. If you want to be a part of it, just reach out. I'm not charging for it at all because I'm not going that in depth with the coaching. It's just, hey, I'm doing this. If you want to do it, let's do it together. The next event, I ran an event for the first time. It was a 6-class beach yoga series this summer. So every Saturday we met. The first class was at 6:30. Then the other ones became 7:30. We started out class with a mindfulness walk. We walked along the beach. Mindfulness walk means no talking, when you just take in all of the senses. What do you smell? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you even taste? What are your thoughts? Whatever other senses there are, tap into those. So we walk to a certain point, we look out at the ocean, we watch the waves, we listen to the waves, and what do we see? Cute little dolphins! Oh, the dolphin sightings were the best. They were the highlight of it all for me. Dolphin are my favorite ocean animals. After that, we'd walk back and do our yoga practice. The yoga class was more of a yoga flow. The theme was hips and hamstrings, how to strengthen and loosen them. And I would say everyone had so much success. Many people who couldn't do arm balances or couldn't balance like in tree pose well, by the end of the 6 classes, they definitely had progressed. And I still get requests to this day to bring back the beach yoga. It was really special. And you wouldn't even believe it, but going to the beach that early in the morning, believe it or not, there are other people there who seem like that's what they do every single Saturday. So get yourselves up, take yourselves to the beach, and see about doing some movement practice, even if it isn't yoga. I created and ran my first retreat ever this summer. That was really fun. It was 3 days. We took everyone to Big Bear. We stayed in the house together. It was plant-based because I am plant-based. And it was a mindfully fit retreat. So how to do mindful practices and how to carry these practices into your daily lives back at home. So we're all back at home now, and everyone's working on their mindful practice and actually doing it every single day. There are some challenges, but we're talking about it and encouraging one another to keep the path and to keep it going. I'm planning the next retreat to be sometime in April and May. hopefully. It will be again plant-based, have alkaline water, because those are things that are important to me, especially when you're living this holistic, healthier lifestyle. I believe that's the path. It will be longer though. I want minimum 5 days and maximum 7 days. I haven't chosen a location yet. Maybe you can throw some suggestions to me, or maybe you know of a perfect place where we can go to be mindfully fit in our bodies, in our minds. And I want to teach workshops on really going in depth of how to live this lifestyle every single day, talking about food and habits and mindfulness activities to do to keep your mind in that positive state of being, and to continue to search and be curious, to grow and expand and go beyond what you thought you could do and who you could be. Yeah. That's what I want for all of us. So if you have any suggestions or know of a place, please reach out to me and we shall make it happen. Let's get your gut health balanced. Did you know instead of taking pills for probiotics, you can eat food and drinks with probiotics in it? Consuming real food is my number one choice and first recommendation for all of my clients needing to improve their gut health. Can you guess which kind of food it is? Yes, it is fermented foods. Fermenting Fairy is a fantastic company whose products are formulated to feed and support gut health. I found this company, I started buying from them, and I am a fan. My favorite part is it's all plant-based. They have so many delicious varieties. They have ginger applesauce, cinnamon applesauce. I still eat applesauce as a snack. There's a variety of sauerkraut flavors, caraway and fennel, dill, ginger, carrot, lemonades with lavender, elderberry, ginger, all kinds of coconut milk kefir. Right now, a brand new vanilla spice pear sauce and a new tart cherry lemonade. I'm hungry talking about it. So go to their website, fermentingfairy.com, use discount code PorshaFit to receive 15% off your orders. And DM me at PorshaFit Podcast to tell me which foods and beverages you love the most. Now we will begin this session with a Poirsha Fit exclusive, my mindful morning check-in. Wherever you are right now at this moment, we will take 3 breaths together. Inhale and exhale. In, out. One more in. Exhale. I have a few questions for you. Have you checked in with yourself today? You woke up. How does your body feel? Do you feel flexible and limber, free of pain? Do you feel any aches, pain, or tightness anywhere? If so, where do you feel it? Did you do some warm-up movements to address those aches and pains and stiffness? If you did not, why didn't you? Do you still have time to do it? Can you give yourself 5 minutes of movement? How did you sleep? Do you feel well rested? If you had the choice, would you go back to sleep? How much more sleep do you think you would need to feel ready to start your day? How are you in your thoughts today? Did you wake up with thoughts just flooding in? Was it overwhelming? Or are you too sleepy to notice them? How is your mood? Are you stressed, cranky, overwhelmed? Or are you happy and excited? Is there anything that you are looking forward to today? What positive thoughts have you had so far? What is one positive thing you can think of right now? Say it out loud. I'll share one with you. I woke up feeling excited to record this podcast today. Podcasting makes me smile. All right, well, I hope you said it out loud. I hope that you can carry on this positivity with you throughout your day. And in yoga, we talk about intention setting. It's nice to start the yoga practice with an intention. And yoga is not just a practice that's on the mat. When you really dive deep into the philosophy, the yoga practice teaches you how to recalibrate and balance yourself for life, how to act in everyday life. That's the yoga. But right now, is there a word that you would like to keep with you and carry with you in your day to just remind you of the feeling that you wanted to feel? My word for today, my intention is excitement. So no matter what happens, I want to remind myself to feel excited, because why not? There's so much negativity around us, and especially social media. No matter what post you see, you go into the comments and there's always negativity. So being negative and having those pessimistic thoughts and views, that's already out there. It abounds. It's plentiful out there. So why not be the difference maker? Why not be the change? And while everyone else is complaining about all of their life woes, why don't you approach it differently? I'm not saying don't acknowledge, but let's not harp on. Let's focus on the positive, and now I'm going to focus on being excited today. Thank you all so much for your thoughtfulness and participating in my mindful morning check-in. This fall season also marked a new journey for me. I've crossed over into the world of educating children. I created this mindfulness program for a high school, and I'm collaborating with the teacher. And right now the students are in their second module. We broke it down into 8 modules, 4 for fall and 4 for spring. So it's for the entire school year. My goal and my reason for creating it was to help the students to become mindfully fit. I had this opportunity of teaching at the high school a yoga class. And I went for 2 weeks in a row. I started with kind of like a beginner yoga class, and then the second one added on from there. And what I found working with students because I'm used to teaching adults mainly. But with these students, they had questions. How to manage their moods, how to do breath work to help with their anxiety, and asking, is this going to help them to lose weight if they continue? And does this help with stress? Them asking me those questions opened up my mind. I'd already created a program for adults in my mind for this mindfulness practice of just how to kind of get your life on track, this mind body overhaul. And it was a 12-week program. I haven't released it, it's still in the works. But because of those questions the students asked me, I decided I wanted to talk to the teacher. And as I was leaving after my second week there, she was walking me out, and I shared with her my vision of this mindfulness and the body and how to harmonize the two of them. And she was so excited. She was like, I wanted something like this for my students. I didn't know exactly what it would be, but I love your ideas, and let's see how it's going to work. And what do you know? The next semester, here we are in this program. So far, based on their responses that I've been reading, some things are landing. And I know with everyone's not going to be a fan of new things, and adults aren't either, right? It's something different. It's a change. You have to do something. And this something is you have to do something for yourself. And not everyone sees the value in it, and they won't truly understand the value until they become an adult. And when they're out there in the world and they have to figure out life without having parents and other people to tell them what to do, when you start to manage yourself. But that's why I want to give them the tools now, so that at least, even if they forget and don't even do it that seriously, they have something to go back to. There's a memory of a time when they were doing something positive. And that's when it'll kick in for them. That is my hope. That is my thought. Mindfulness. My personal definition of mindfulness: the practice of awareness and connection of oneself, others, and surroundings and environment. Recognizing the bigger picture of life as a whole and appreciating how it all fits together symbiotically. Or, my shorter version, mindfulness is the practice of peacefulness. When I think about my own mindful practices throughout the day, they're practices to help me come back to my peaceful state of being. I believe this place, this peaceful place, resides within us, always. It's deep within. And we get really caught up with what's going on outside of us, that we forget that there is calm within. So my teachings are how to introspect and reflect every day. And it really is a practice. It's not something that you're just good at. It's hard to, quote unquote, get good at it, especially in this day and age where it seems everything is happening so fast and we all can't keep up. It really is a rat race. And as much as social media has helped in certain ways, it has hurt us in other ways, physically and mentally. Mentally, it has affected us because you now get to see what everyone in the world is doing all the time. And it's not a real representation of people's lives that we're seeing. We're seeing snippets. And we're thinking that that is the life that these people are living. But it's not true. We've idolized people and raised them up to where they're gods. And it seems like they're untouchable and I can't be them. They're so much better than me. Look at their life. They have more than me. And because they have more than me, I don't feel good about myself. I feel like I wish I had more. And I can't be happy with what I have because I know that Jim, he has more than me. He has more properties than me. Yes, I have millions of dollars, but they have way more millions. They have billions. How can I be happy with my millions when they have billions? I should be having billions. When you get into that comparison energy, and that affects the mind a lot. And it goes to severe points where people feel they cannot handle it anymore. And they just want it all to stop. And there are other ways of quieting the noise. The mindfulness practices help you to go within, to shut out all that chatter and come back to your peaceful place of being, to enjoy your own company. Physically, society has gotten us to a place to where people are not comfortable in their bodies. Now, we've gone to this hybrid work from home and come into the office maybe only once or twice a week. And people in general, I know from my clients, they're sitting all day long. Do you know what that does to the body when you sit all day? The muscles atrophy. They're not used. They become soft. And you're sitting in the same position for that long. You get tight. Tissues seize up. You start having all of these issues. This typing people do on the computer all day. So many people are having carpal tunnel. They're young. It's because they're stuck. The mid back, the thoracic spine area where your ribs are, try to rotate. Try to turn your body to one side and turn your body to the other side. How does that feel for you? So many people are tight. I mean, the shoulders are like rocks. There's no movement. And we wonder why we're not in the best mood. How can you be when you feel this tight and tense? It's like being in a straitjacket. You can barely move. How can you feel free? How can your thoughts roam? How can you even consider using your imagination and feeling that excitement that I was talking about? Can we do basic human movements in the body with ease? Dare I say, do a squat comfortably? Can you bend down and sit on the floor comfortably? Can you get off of the floor without having to use something to pull you up? A lot of my clients who are in their, I would say late 40s and 50s, they think that they're old and that all these young kids can do what they used to be able to do. But no, because this is the culture of sitting. It's sedentary. And it really hurts me deeply that this is the state of where we are. And I'm saying, we must rebel. I am saying we have to be the ones ourselves to be the change that we want to see. So, for example, if you sit at a desk all day, create an ergonomically correct workstation. Have a balance of standing and sitting. I had a client who was very pregnant. She had this desk chair setup where you can sit kneeling or cross-legged and all these other kinds of ways that I can't remember. But she was so flexible and strong, and I was just in awe of her. And she said she was always moving, standing up, stretching, and she really experienced minimal pain, if any, that I ever remembered training her weekly. So it's possible to find a better solution for yourselves. Taking time in the middle of your day to actually go walk. Going to walk at lunch. I remember my mom used to do that all the time. Even when she saw her clients, she would walk with them. But then when we stopped meeting in person, now it's over Zoom, how are you going to walk? We need to have hard stops. It's your lunchtime. It's your lunch break. This is your time that I don't think you're getting paid for. I don't know your business. But that's you time. So why don't you use your you time for yourself, to nurture yourself, to give yourself what your body and your mind needs, which is a break. Not this multitasking, answering phone calls, checking emails, and scarfing your food down on your quote unquote lunch break. How about you actually take a break and you walk around, you stretch a little bit. Look outside, go outside, get some sun, get some fresh air. All of these little tiny things help tremendously. It's your own compound interest. The little things that you do every single day add up. And all of a sudden, you have a new body. You have a new mindset. You feel refreshed. You feel young again because you're more flexible. Then we'll have to work on the strength work. Come see me about that. And get stronger with some resistance training. So I am hopeful for my students. I have a plan for them. And I feel like the plan I have for them is a plan that can be carried on with the adults. So I have my mindful program with the high school. This is our pilot program. I'll see how it goes. I want to get through this first year and see where I can make some tweaks and changes and get feedback from the students and the teacher. And then I want to digitalize it and start pitching the schools for this program, because it really can be a life-changing, impactful experience, even if it's just one thing that the students start to incorporate into their lives. And then I'll get back to my program for the adults. I know you all need it too. I would love to pre-record the lessons and digitalize the program so all the school districts have easy access at any time. So if anyone can help me do this, it would be my dream. So please message me on Instagram at Poirsha Fit Podcast. I teach different practices, as I've quickly mentioned, but I wanted to go over my certifications just a little bit, just so you all know what I'm working with and who you are listening to and why you should continue to listen, because there's value. I add value, hopefully, and hopefully a little bit of entertainment. My first certification was in 2016. I am a certified 500-hour yoga instructor. I teach heating yoga classes, the vinyasa flow. That's the one that's more common. You've seen kind of links one exercise to the next in a pretty quick fashion. Another type is Hatha. Hatha yoga is you're pretty much in poses, but they're not necessarily flowy. It's just one pose and the next pose. It doesn't have to connect in this creative, artistic way. And you kind of hold the poses a little bit longer. How long? Well, it depends on the teacher. We're not good at counting, us yoga and Pilates teachers. We just go on how we feel. So good luck. And then a couple of grounding classes that I teach, this calm classes are, one is restorative. That's where you're in a resting position with lots of props. Props would be blankets, blocks, and oh, my favorite, bolsters. Bolster is like a big pillow, but kind of harder, like a cushion. And you get to lay on them, you get to hug them in certain positions and just really relax and surrender. And that's it. That's how the class goes. Next is Yin yoga class. That one is more of a stretchy class. So you hold stretch, so static stretch pose, and you're propped up on blocks and you're holding for about 2 to 5 minutes. Ideally, it's 5 minutes on each side. Nowadays, they have heated classes so that if you're really, really tight and inflexible, you might consider taking a heated class. I don't know about a hot class. I'm not into hot. Hot is about 108 degrees plus. Heated ranges between 85 degrees to 95 degrees. That one's hot, but doable-ish. I recently took a heated vinyasa flow class, and I'm just not a fan. I already generate a lot of heat naturally. So that extra heat, it just sends me over the edge. I practiced by the door because I thought I was going to need to go outside and take a breather, but I managed somehow. Some people are obsessed, so everyone's different. Thinking about the yoga practice in terms of yoga philosophy, our right side of the body is our masculine energy, the sun, the heat, the activity. The left side of our body is our cooling side, our feminine, our moon, our nurturing. In life, how do we balance these two energies? We come to the yoga practice. Yoga has both, right? It feeds our heating, it feeds our cooling. Meditation slows us down, reconnects us with our peaceful state, our balanced state of being. Leaning into pranayama practice, that's your breath work. Inhaling through the right side nostril, exhaling out of the left side nostril, giving equal attention to our masculine and feminine energy. Intentionally using your breath to unblock stagnant energy within you. As you do this, you start to activate those chakras using your breath, starting with your root chakra at the bottom, the red one, and you'll kind of just breathe your way up those chakras along the spine. They're represented as rainbows. So you just go up the rainbow from red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Then you get to the indigo. And ideally, those feminine and masculine energies have been well activated and they're marrying in and out of each other like a snake. And then you get to the lotus flower. And at that moment, we experience the awakening. For just a moment, and then we do it all over again. And we are more than just feminine and masculine energies. There's a lot more energies at play. How about the fact that we are multifaceted beings? That we have this part of us that has this body that is mortal, but then another part of us is immortal and it exists beyond the body. How that exactly works, I don't know. We don't know. But we all have our own beliefs around it. And I believe that we are these eternal beings, that we too, like God and the source of all things, we were always here. It's like we were never not in some weird way. And so if you were never not, then you have always been. And then you ask yourself these questions. Well, when am I not? If you only believe in this body, okay, so how much of the body has to go until you're not you? We thought about this. I remember this exercise in college. I majored in philosophy. At what point are you no longer you? Are you still you if you chopped off your hand, or if you didn't have your foot, if you didn't have a torso or legs, and you only have your neck and your head? And I feel in general, people would say, yes, I'm still me. It's like, well, how are you still you? So then if you're still you without all this, then maybe you exist without this body also. And there are times when we look into the mirror and you're looking at yourself and you don't recognize who you're looking at, because you feel that the reflection that you're seeing is not a representation of who you actually are. Interesting stuff, right? Practicing yoga for me has helped me to expand my mind. Philosophy definitely was it. That was the beginner for me of opening up my mind to other kinds of questions to ask, metaphysical and existential. And I continue to ask those questions, and I'm at a point in my life where I would just prefer to be curious about life rather than pinning me down into some little box. I am this, I am that. I am so much more. And so are you. And we use these mindful practices to remind us that we are more than just this physical body, and more than yes men and yes women and people pleasers and doing what everyone else wants us to do rather than what we want to do and what we believe, and saying, forget the pressure. I'm doing my own thing and I don't care what anyone thinks. We all get to that point eventually. Some people get there earlier. Good for them. It's taking me far too long. Far too long, or just enough long. I don't know. Next, yoga tune-up is what I teach. It's with the rubber therapy balls. They're specifically for myofascial release. So people, again, like I said, if you're tight, I have a client just last night. She trained with me on Sunday and she texted me that her side abs hurt. I was like, oh, great. Finally, your obliques are waking up. Like, I'm glad. But they were really tight, and so we needed to stretch them out for her. So she did a side stretch and was in so much pain that I had her stop doing that and to start with those balls. So had the ball, her standing up and putting the ball on the side of the waist and the back and just rolling gently, very gently. And then she got back into that stretch position and it felt way less painful. So that's what the balls do. They really help you to release tension of the muscle tissues. My next certification is meditation. I'm a 200-hour guided meditation teacher. I guide people through my words into a magical journey of images and hopefully feelings and emotions. I also teach people how to meditate. Those are consultations that I do on Zoom. In my experience so far, it takes 9 sessions of meeting one time a week for an hour, 60 to 75 minutes, for people to start to feel comfortable meditating on their own. And by the 12th session, they're definitely comfortable meditating on their own, and they're using that time to be more consistent in their practice. After the first 12 weeks of meeting together once a week, that's when they feel most comfortable with checking in with me. You can just check in after that, either once every couple months, just to see how your meditations are going and talk to me about what challenges you're having and how we can help you continue your meditation practice. Because it takes time. Like I said earlier, everything is practice. How to get good at something, how to be consistent with your meditation. You just have to keep showing up for yourself, even when you don't want to. Ooh, that sounds like discipline. And I am the person who definitely needs to be in this work, because discipline for me, that's my last name. Poirsha Angeline Discipline. I'm extremely disciplined. And that is one of my many superpowers for sure. Next, I'm a 450-hour classically trained Pilates teacher. It's called comprehensive teacher because I am certified to teach on the mat and also in the Pilates studio on the reformer, the Cadillac, the towers, the chairs, the barrels, and the pedal pull. That's a lot of pieces of equipment. A lot of you are like, I don't know what that is, but now you know. Yes, there's more to Pilates than just a reformer. People are obsessed with Pilates these days, and I'm here for it. Cool, I'm glad people are excited about it. But then we get these narrow mindedness where you think Pilates means a reformer. There's so much more to Pilates than just that. And also, there's so much more to Pilates than just abs. It's not just abs. You're focused on your core muscles. Your core does not just mean your abs. And even when people are thinking about your abs, we're actually considering all 4 layers of your abdominals. So not just the 6-pack. Just like my client said earlier, with the side abs, the abs that help you to rotate. Well, how do you even access those muscles? That's what we teach. And we teach how to fire the muscles that are necessary to achieve movements. And guess what that means? You need to be strong. You need to have strength and intelligence and awareness of all of the muscles and movements in your body. I have a client, she laughs because she'll say, I didn't know it was toe day. I didn't know I had been skipping toe day. Yes, there is something called having toe strength. Your toes, a lot of people's toes are frozen. You can barely pull your toes back without using your hands. And you can barely point your toes. And can you even move your feet? Can you flex your whole foot? Can you point the foot? How does it feel when you move your ankles around? Can you balance on your feet? So if you stand up right now, can you lift your heels up off of the floor and still stay balanced and tall? And we do a whole footwork series standing up like that, lifting the heels, lowering the heels, lift the heels up, keep your heels lifted up as you bend your knees and stand back up with the heels staying up. Yeah, that's functional movement. So that's what we're teaching in the Pilates studio. And ideally, that's what they're teaching you in mat classes. Functional movement is teaching somebody how to move properly in their daily life. So does this movement serve me? Will it help enhance my movements outside of our training sessions? The answer is yes. How do you do that? Using the practice of Pilates. And how do you do that? Using the practice of yoga. You need athleticism. You just do. Especially with all this sitting. You've got to do extra things nowadays that people didn't have to do before. We were more active back then. So my suggestion, of course, is my number 1 and 2 practices is yoga and Pilates. I think yoga should be the first practice to start because it's without any weights. It's just your body weight. So learning how to connect with your body, connect with your breathing, learn alignment. Then you start doing the mat Pilates practice where you start incorporating light weights and some balls and the magic circle for resistance training. Then you train with me in the Pilates studio to do resistance training. I'll train all those tiny muscles that you forgot about. And then you work with a personal trainer. They train you how to throw around heavy weight. And we all work as a team. And together we all will build you a strong, resilient, rock-hard body. The last and definitely not the least of my teaching certifications is I am a certified Ayurvedic wellness counselor. That was 625 hours. I'm pretty sure it was 625 or 675 hours to complete. And it took me years to do that certification. And I'm currently enrolled in the Ayurvedic practitioner program. So that's the next level. And this program alone is 900 hours. I did do the internship in India in 2023 for this program, but I am on pause. I am on hiatus. And hopefully I'll get back to it. But in the meantime, I am still doing Ayurvedic consultations, as I mentioned earlier. Ayurveda is the holistic healing science that India practices. And it has existed for over 5,000 years. And as I told you, it's a holistic practice. So it considers the totality of a person's body, the function, the mental state, their lifestyle, their desires, in order to address their imbalances. And instead of using synthetic medications, Ayurveda uses herbs and your fruits, your vegetables, plants, and spices as medicine. So pretty much whatever is in your kitchen, we can see about using that medicinally. And because of these teachings, I've personally been practicing Ayurveda since I found out about it in my yoga training back in 2016. And it has changed my life for the better. I will get into all the things that I gave up in my life, all of these habits that I had, that I stopped, and what I started doing instead. I'm a whole different person. I have a whole new body, a whole new mind and mindset. And this is the life that I hope to share with all of you. And hopefully you can see yourself maybe where I am now. Maybe it's where you're looking to be. Or maybe when I talk to you more about where I was before. And that's where you can see yourself. And then you can see the path that you can take to get to where you want to be in your health. And remember, it's the health of the body and the health of the mind. You need both. You can't just go to the gym and work out and expect to have a different mindset. The mind requires work. Mindfulness requires practice of the mind. How do you practice with your mind every day? How do you do exercises? How do you feed your mind nutritiously every single day? How do you feed your body nutritiously every single day? Those are the questions that we want to answer. Those are the questions that we want to ask ourselves every day. And hopefully when you start to incorporate healthier daily life practices, you'll start to see an improvement in your thoughts. The lens in which you see yourself is a lot gentler. You see yourself in a kind way, in a loving way. And that is the real you. So I ask you, how are you going to connect with yourself every day? What is the practice? What can you do? What are you willing to do? Sit with yourself. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Undisturbed time. You can start with sitting outside or sitting at a window, just for 5 minutes looking out the window, doing nothing, taking in what you see. No judgment, and practicing this practice of nothingness, the practice of doing nothing. Maybe you can progress to sitting with your eyes closed. And no matter what thoughts that happen, no matter what's going on around you, you can sit with your eyes closed with yourself. I feel I need to say this, but make sure you're in a safe place and it's appropriate to check out. Definitely not doing this in the car, and not doing it if you're watching your children. Like, you should be watching your kids and all those things. This should be done by yourself when no one else is around. And you can take those 5 minutes of time in a safe way. It's just a start. And I'll be here every week to assist you along your mindfulness journey of becoming more mindfully fit, right? The body and the mind. Fit bodies, fit minds. We need to work them both. We'll end this session. Please visit Instagram, Facebook at Poirsha Fit Podcast. Check out the link in my bio to book a session with me if you'd like to do that. But more importantly, I would like for you to continue to take in my teachings. And I will be posting in between the podcasts. I have a lot of series that I want to release: affirmations, meditations, and relaxations. So each podcast will be released every Monday, and throughout the week I'll release those other ones, so you have something cool to listen to and to start using those to be a part of your mindfulness practice for the day. That is the goal. Wherever you are, sit up taller, lengthen out, and we'll take 3 closing breaths together. Inhale through the nose. Let it out. Inhale. Exhale. Last one in. And out. I'm bringing my hands to heart center. I am thanking all of you for listening in. I am welcoming your energies, and I am grateful. The rough translation of Namaste is the light in me sees and recognizes the light in you. So from one light being to another, I bow to your light. Thank you, fellow light beings.